Hey guys, Rosita here. Happy holidays. So, as you can tell, I've been doing a lot of video blogs as of late, but I've been really inspired to give you guys as many tips as much as possible because, I've been talking to a lot of people. I'm definitely a people person. I love talking about music, I love talking about singing, and, they always tell me that they can't sing. And again, if you're my student, you always hear, and probably sick and tired of me saying this, but if you can speak, you can sing. And when I tell a person that I'm just recently met, like, no, I cannot sing. I don't have pitch. I'm completely tone deaf. And of course, I do have people, I do have students that do have difficulties of obtaining pitch, but that does not mean that they are tone deaf. Now, sometimes pitches come easier than other people. All right? It involves of training the ear. So, if you think you're tone deaf, guys, this is definitely a video for you. So, at the most basic level, ear training, is the process of connecting hearing and thinking. It's also cultivating the ability to hear what isn't actually there. Okay, so by using what you already know about a song, so say if you're learning a song or exercise or scale, to identify pitches, intervals, chord progressions, rhythms, and even more advanced musical concepts, you also need to understand how they relate to each other. It is important to note that by hearing the actual process. Of course, anyone who is not actually hearing impaired can literally hear all aspects of music. And actually, even if you have difficulty of hearing, say that you need some help hearing, doesn't mean that you can't sing, guys. Doesn't mean that you don't have the capability of singing in tune. You definitely, you still can learn. It's going to take longer than most, yes, but you can. Okay. Now, people who can correct the auditory hearing the sounds with a cognitive knowing what those sounds mean and how they relate to each other are demonstrating a good musical ear. So, how do we train your ear? Well, okay, so how do you get better? You can practice ear training in a variety of ways. So, I'll be talking about the different ways of how to train your ear and exercises that you can use to improve. But before you get too overwhelmed with this, remember that simply listening to music you love can also help train your ear. So, yes, just by listening, you're already starting the process of building your ear training, of matching those pitches. But it's not the only thing that you can do. Hearing and singing the intervals in the melody or harmony, the bass line, or any identifying the quality of each chord in a song can be hugely beneficial in building and maintaining your musical ear. So keep on listening. Now, here's the toughest part of recognizing and understanding pitches. What is a pitch? To simply put it, it is the quality that allows us to classify a sound, whether it's high or low. Okay? Again, I'm going to repeat that. A pitch is a sound that we can classify whether it's high or low. Now, the ability to recognize pitches has tons of benefits for musicians, for especially singers. Oh my goodness, yes, for singers. You'll be able to quickly harmonize. So if this is something that you're also working on, of how to harmonize if you're in a choir, if you're in a musical group, this is also a video that you should also be watching. So if you are, awesome job. Also for instrumentalists, so if you're a piano player, if you're a guitar player, granted I do not teach guitar, but I do know of it. If you're a bass player, I am a bass player. So regardless of what instrument you play, you also have to train your ear, guys, not just singers, because sometimes you will have to harmonize, or you'll have to transition to a different key. So for instrumentalists, tuning your instrument actually will be slightly easier if you can hear the nuances between each pitches. So of course, you guys have heard, the term perfect pitch, which is also known as absolute pitch. What perfect pitch is the ability to hear a pitch and know exactly what note is being sound. Now, a note is just the identity of the sound. All right. So, for example, if I play an E flat on the piano and I ask one of my friends who is a professional, let's go with the singer that I know. All right, my best friend Rue. No, Alistair. Oh my God, yes, Alistair. Alistair, this is a shout out to you because you definitely have perfect pitch. Oh my goodness. And I'm jealous, by the way. Because he was actually born with perfect pitch, and I had to actually work my ear of gaining, perfect pitch. So it took me, I'm not going to deny you guys, it took me years. All right. I did not have a strong ear. But Alistair, I hate you and I love you at the same time. So if I play an E flat on the piano and I say, hey, Alistair, what note is this? He can tell me what note it is. That's what's perfect pitch. It is so incredibly cool. It sounds really cool, and it is really just mind-blowing. I wish I had that gift. That would save me a lot of money of taking classes. But if I didn't go through that, I won't be able to teach ear training and help you guys. So for singers, it is important to remember that, because your vocal technique, meaning breath support, number one, tone placement, your posture, and other vocal techniques, either what I teach you or your current vocal coach is teaching you, affects your intonation. Even people with perfect pitch is not always going to be, going to have the perfect pitch all the time. We're human, okay? We're going to do little mistakes. But stuff like posture and breath support will affect that. Okay? So, therefore, although perfect pitch is an asset to a musician, it's not necessary. It definitely helps, but it's not necessary. But if you don't have it naturally, it just has the much potential for greatness, okay? I don't have it naturally. I had to learn it, and it was a gruesome process, but it was worthwhile. It definitely enhanced my singing of, training my ear. So, you can be trained, guys, to improve your pitch, or recognize those pitches or intervals immediately through study and practice. Again, it's practice, 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 practice. Whether it's relative pitch or the ability to hear how pitches relate to each other. And more important, of obtaining that skill. So I'm sure you guys are worried that you are not able to distinguish pitches at all. Well, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, is that less than 1% is actually tone deaf. Okay, and that'll be another video. I'll be talking about tone deafness, like what it is specifically. Now, let's talk about ear training using intervals. What is an interval, first of all? An interval, it is a distance between notes. As any two notes played in a succession are is a distance from each other. Okay, so in the simplest terms, an interval is the space between two notes. Intervals are especially important for singers to have in our ears because we're most likely not going to have a piano unless if you play piano and sing at the same time like I do, then it definitely helps. But most of the time, we're going to go solo. Now, knowing your intervals as well is going to help you memorize a melody of the song if you need to learn a song. So we have our ears and a sense of position of our notes in our various registers, but we don't have a physical instrument to look at or touch. So we have to count on our hearing. So sometimes you can just memorize the way a melody sounds, meaning that you kind of know, you have a general idea of what the melody is, but doesn't mean you know the melody and have it down without having to think about the intervals involved. Other times, for one reason for another, it's not so simple of learning the melody, but learning the intervals is not complicated. It's definitely knowing your melody is important, like actually knowing it. Luckily, learning the intervals is not complicated, and there are a few ways that you can actually approach memorizing them. If you guys, I actually do have a cheat sheet on this, and so I don't have a piano on me right now, but the way that my ear training teacher taught me was doing like a major, second, minor, minor, second, major, second, going up by half steps. Right? So definitely you want to, if you have a vocal coach already, have them, work on intervals if you're having issues with pitches, as I do with my students. Okay, ear training using chords. Now, by itself, a note is just a note. But when you add a few notes, you can actually make a chord. What a chord is two or more notes play together, creating like a harmonious sound. The basis of music, per se. Training your ears to recognize these chords and the notes within them can make you a stronger musician. Chords make up almost all of the music we listen to, and as a part of every profession musician's training. However, chords should not be the first thing on your ear training list. Each chord is made up by multiple pitches. In order to fully absorb a chord, is that you have to pick out each individual note. You will have trouble matching single pitches or recalling short tunes, but you want to master that. Mastering identifying the individual notes before you start, using chord exercises. Now, how to incorporate chords into ear training. Please note that chords have Roman numeral names. Reason being is that we can actually transpose it into different keys. So for instance, many singers use a solfege, which is movable. A solfege is not in just one key. Solfege moves to different keys. In another video, I've mentioned what a key is. Now, there are two ways to start getting your ears used to the chords. First, we want to identify the individual chords. So our greater ear training exercise involves the one chords, do, mi, and so, in a movable do. With this exercise, your teacher will play the chord, and you sing each individual pitch. Number 2, you want to identify the whole chords. The most common chords is going to be do, mi, so. Basically, the first chord, the 5th chord, the 6th chord, and the 4th chord. I should rather say the first chord is mostly going to be a major chord. The 5th is going to be a major dominant. A 6th is going to be a minor chord, and the 4th is going to be a major chord as well. Now that when you're familiarized with the chords, you're ready to start learning about chord progressions. Oh, this was fun and also in class. I'm just going back to nostalgia, for my teachers teaching me this. So I see my teacher, Ed Finn, from Musicians Institute, just writing these things on the board. I'm like, So how to familiarize with chord progressions. Songs are made up not just about individual chords, but chords formed in a specific order. These chains of chords are called chord progressions. And training your ear to recognize them help you to understand music better and become a better improviser as well. If you saw my previous video about genres and styles, I was talking about jazz and blues. In specific, I was talking about scatting. Now, scatting involves a lot of improvisation, so this is definitely going to help. Chord progressions affect every singer, but they're particularly important for singers who accompany themselves on the piano, or just basically any instrument, because singers can only sing one note at a time. Now, if you ever get lost while singing, you want to listen to your band if you have a live band, or listen to the karaoke track, listen to the instruments, and find that chord. So you can find that home note, find that first note, and that will help you regain your pitch again. All right. So as you learned, as I mentioned in the last thing, talk about the one chord progression that comes back time and time again is Western popular music, the 1, 5, 6, 4. This is the first progression you should probably start off with. Once you get that done, then you can go into other chord progressions. So, what's next? Feeling a little overwhelmed already? Mind you, this is going to be over a course of a time. All right? This is not all that's going to happen all at once. Okay? These are just steps, and these are just levels that you are going to graduate into. Okay? So we're going to start small, baby steps. We are here to help you. I am here to help you guys to improve your singing, whether if you want to sing it as a hobby, whether you want to sing as a professional, or you're really excited. It's a huge karaoke party and you just don't want to be that person where everyone wants to just cover their ears. We're all here for you. Which lesson learned, more, yeah, never mind. Just disregard that. So there are actually apps on your smartphone that you can actually download that actually helps in EarTraining, and a lot of them actually are free. So work with your coach. If you're my students, work with me. If you're having difficulties or you're feeling frustrated, come to me, guys. So outside of your lessons, take advantage of these apps. There's also online resources. And just listen to music and try to match it. But the main thing that's going to definitely help you, especially if you think that you're tone deaf, differentiate whether the pitch is high or low. That is your beginning. That's where you want to start from. All right, guys. So if you are in take lessons and you want to ask questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to ask me. Just go ahead and click the button that says ask a question. If you guys are watching this on the page, just post a comment, or you can PM me. All right, guys. Take care and have a happy holidays. Bye.